I feel like holding on to anger doesn't serve me, and it keeps me in that phase of my life. And I didn't want this man to continue to have a power over me. And even if, you know, I can detest someone, even if you're spending your energy on hate or dislike, that's energy that could be much better served elsewhere. You know, by the time I was kind of over it, I was a mother, and, you know, I'd much rather spend positive energy on nurturing this child that I have. I really felt at the time that I was the only person that was going through it or had been through it. And to feel as if it felt like there were, you know, millions of us, and I was just like, wow. And for me, it was at that point that I was like, I'm so glad I wrote this song, because I've put the conversation on the table. Sometimes I feel like, particularly Black people, we feel like, oh, I've made it because I'm occupying a white-centered space. But for me, I feel like, I don't know, I just disagree. I think that we need to stop aiming to occupy white spaces and start occupying our own and start creating our own.
Thank you so much for coming to 1,000 Voices, Jamelia. How are you today?
I am very, very well. Honored to be here. You know, I'm excited to have a chat.
I'm excited to hear from you. Like, you're one of those faces I've been seeing on my screen since I was a child, like literally. So like, you know, I was going to say seeing your face on the screen also, but then I'm seeing your face on this screen here, but it's different because we're talking right now. But I'm excited to hear from you, man. Thank you so much for coming through.
No problem.
For the people who don't know who you are, could you just give us like a quick introduction?
Okay, so I'm Jamelia. I'm a singer, songwriter, a mother, actress, presenter. What else? And loads of other things as well. But yeah, I don't want to make my intro too long.
Cool. Overall, a very talented person, basically, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. And yeah, so what I like to do is I always like to start off here just from like the start, basically. Talk about, you know, upbringing and that kind of thing. Before we get there, actually, you know, because I was looking into your profile when I was looking into you and that before today, and I realized that all of you got the 3 daughters and you have a stepson as well, but all your daughters, all their names begin with T. Yeah. And that's just like me and my brothers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All T.
You know, I think it's kind of like the first one began with T, so it was like, you know, just keep. It's funny, like my brothers are the same as well, and I don't know. So my brothers all begin with T, and my and they have like extended brothers as well, if you know what I mean. All begin with T, and I think because I wasn't a part of that, I think subconsciously I wanted to be a part of that, so I named all my kids with T as well.
Yeah. Cool. That's all good. I saw that and I thought, oh, wow, that's like me and my brothers. But yeah, all good. All right. So yeah, so let's take it back then. So let's just to start off with, let's set the foundation. Talk about your upbringing, you know, where you grew up and what the family dynamic was like.
So I was brought up in Hockley, Birmingham, with by my mum. I was brought up with my 2 younger brothers. I'm the eldest sibling in inner city Birmingham, Hockley. And I had a really happy, full childhood. You know, my mum's Jamaican, so if anyone has Jamaican parents, you know what that means. you know the culture. But yeah, I was surrounded by culture and positivity, empowerment, information, knowledge. I'd say the first 10 years of my life was spent as a Rasta. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful to be a part of the Rastafarian community. I went to a Pan-African Saturday school up until like secondary school age. And when I look back at my childhood, I just think, I had it made.
That's so cool. The Pan-African Saturday school thing as well. That's proper sick. I didn't know that actually. Do you?
Yeah.
So I guess from young, then you were aware of your blackness, your identity.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I think I was aware of my identity in a way that really has continued to serve me throughout my whole life. I, you know, it wasn't like I wasn't like the part of the Black Panthers, which there wouldn't be any shame in that, by the way.
Yeah.
But it was more just I just feel it was just like gentle reinforcement the whole time that, you know, that who I am is, you know, is great. And so when I did start to go into white establishments, and not just white in, you know, the people that were in it, but, you know, systemically racist environments that weren't built to serve me, I felt, you know, I don't know, I think I felt immune to it. I still felt strong despite the attempts that were made to chip away at my my glory, if I'm allowed to say, like that. You know, I always felt very confident in who I am, and was never ashamed of or wish to be any other identity.
Yeah, but that's real cool, and that's like, I think it's very important anyways, the knowing who you are, the identity thing. I think a lot of power comes in that. You know? Like, from a personal perspective, when I started to learn more about my history and where I've come from, so my parents are originally from Ghana, born here, but you know, so when I'm like looking into that and looking into my history, like you feel a sense of pride, you know what I'm saying? You feel like like a sense of power. It's like no one now, you can walk into spaces where you might even be the only one, and then but then people can't tell you, not people can't tell you nothing as in like you're hard-headed, but like people can't tell you, like
they can't tell you they can't tell you nothing, and they can't take away. Because for me it's like, I feel like, especially growing up in the UK, we are constantly told that we're less than and we're different. And for me, because I'd already been empowered before I'd even stepped out the gate, like there's nothing anyone exterior can say to take away from what you already know. That this is what I know. So to me, you look like a mad person if you say anything other. Do you know what I mean? Because I know this for a fact. you know what I mean? I've got the evidence. I've got, you know, and for me, I kind of feel like it's really important to understand, you know, as a parent, you're capable of doing that. But if your parents haven't done that with you, I still recommend you do that work as an adult and continue the work as an adult either way. But that way I feel like you just walk with a different just with a different energy and a different kind of inner knowing. Sorry, I could bang on about this all day.
It's all good. It's just 1,000 voices. It's your voice. Use it. It's all good. So with the site, was it your mum that put you into that Pan-African Saturday school then?
Yes. So from as early as I can remember, I was going to Pan-African Saturday school, and a Pan-African Saturday school isn't, you know, there's a lot of it based on African history, Black British history, and you know, that kind of information. But it's also providing a supplementary education. So as we know, you know, especially young Black boys, before they even enter the classroom, they're demonized, they're treated in a different way, and also assumed that their intelligence is lacking. And so the effort to give them the same level of teaching when it comes to normal education like maths, English, science, because the people who organized the Pan-African Saturday schools knew that our Black boys, our Black children were being failed by the education system. It was also to supplement our education. So we would have homework from school, or sometimes not, and then also have homework from the Saturday school. We did African rituals, and I remember we had like an altar where we, you know, had to kind of greet our ancestors. We were taught different African languages, different, like, you know, how to say very basic things. But it was a connection, especially coming from the Caribbean. At that time, we never had any way of discovering exactly where it is we came from. We didn't have that information. It ended at Jamaica. Whereas, you know, since then, I've come to know that, like, my the biggest proportion of my ancestry is in Benin and Togo. And I know I know it's two separate places. Sorry, my husband's Ghanaian, and he's told me you can't be from both of them. You got to be from one. But I'm just like, well, that's what it said on the ancestry. But as well as many other places, actually, I've got a bit of Ghanaian, bit of Nigerian, but Benin was the main place, and you know, again, we didn't have access to that information back in the 80s, but it was fantastic. And then my youngest brother, had the opportunity to go to a nursery school that was set up in the way of the Pan-African school, and so he did his kind of, it would have looked as if he was homeschooled, but he, you know, the things that he was capable of doing at 2 and 3 years old have, you know, inspired me even when raising my own children, that, you know, they are our children are greatness personified, and all of us are. And if we know that, if we are aware of that, the things that we will create, and the things that we will do is just, you know,
there's nothing about
me. I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah, like literally, we can do literally, if we understand that, like you said, where greatness personified, there's nothing that anyone can tell us, nothing that could stop us from living life literally on our own terms. We can go out and do what we want to do.
Absolutely.
And that's quite cool. You know, I was listening to when I was listening to your table talk with your daughters, on your channel, and you were talking about, you know, being homeschooled and private school and the state school, which what they preferred and that kind of thing. So was that experience sort of some of the reasoning why you decided to homeschool them, at least for a little while?
Yeah, you know, for me, the education system spectacularly fails Black children, and it's sometimes most of the time it's down to the individual child whether or not they will succeed, and that's unfair, especially as a child. You know, every child deserves the same chances in school, and so for me, whether my children have been in school or not, it's been really important to me to, as I said, the same as the Saturday school, provide a supplementary education, make sure that I'm doing more, make sure that my children are fulfilling their true potential and not what limitations the school that they might be attending has put on them. I'd much rather not homeschool, but I kind of feel like I have no choice. I feel like I have no choice if I want the best out of my children.
Yeah, I hear you for sure. And talking about, so if we go into the music side of things, so when you signed with Capital, when you was super young, you're 15 years old,
15,
but when you signed with Capital, one thing I've heard you talk about was the fact that someone there, I don't know exactly who it was, but was saying that you were too dark to become a superstar, basically. Which is nuts. That's nuts. How did you take that at the time? And you were very young, but I suppose you were doing your school and everything.
So again, for me, I didn't take offense to it. Like, no, as I said, I thought he was mad. I just thought you must be mad. If you believe that I cannot achieve something great because my skin is a certain color, you must be mad. And I don't think I was never hurt by it. As I said, I didn't believe him. So I still walked with the same confidence and and power that I always had. And you know, it wasn't the first conversation of its type. No, it probably was the first conversation of its type, but it definitely wasn't the last. But for me, what I think is important is for people to know that happened. I experienced that, but I'm still here and I still went ahead and did it. You know, don't let these words that people spew and these limitations again that people place on us without the prior knowledge. Like he didn't know me. He didn't know my capabilities. He didn't know my, you know, where I was coming from. He didn't know, you know, who I had the potential to be. He saw one thing. And for me, that's like, poor you to be so limited in the mind. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, definitely wild. That's a nuts comment, man, I think. Yeah. And you've done the music, you started music very young. Yeah, you sang Capital 15 years old. And so at that point in time, I don't know when exactly like the fame and money exactly started to come in, but it would have been, in a short period of time, maybe not long after, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so within 5 years, by the time I was 21, I was a multi-millionaire. Now coming from inner city Birmingham, I wouldn't say that I was like super famous either. I think I was on TV. I was doing something that nobody else was doing, so I was able to make money very quickly. And it was obviously my second album that really catapulted things for me. But by the time I was 21, you know, I was able to look after my family, you know, tell everyone like, you know, you don't need to work, which wasn't wise, by the way. That wasn't wise.
Cool.
But yeah, it was a crazy time for me. But also within that period of time, I had my first daughter, and I think that I owe my motivation, my commitment and dedication to continue to the fact that I had my daughter. You know, that was what for me changed things. I wasn't, not to say I wasn't taking it seriously, I was really enjoying it, but at that time I thought, oh, this could actually be a real career. I could, you know, I could do this properly. And yeah, and so the next 5 years is when I really took things seriously. And yeah, it wasn't a game anymore. I can't explain. Yeah.
So do you feel like you missed out on some of your childhood then?
I don't, you know. And let me tell you why. I feel like, coming from where I came from, I feel that even doing the job that I did and starting at 15, I still succumbed to being a vulnerable Black girl from Birmingham. And by that, I mean the relationship that I ended up in. I still ended up in a relationship when I was 17. And it was a relationship that I definitely should not have been in. I wasn't mature enough to be in. And these are the things that, you know, in the same way Black boys from inner cities can end up in gangs because of their vulnerabilities. I ended up in an inappropriate relationship, I'd call it. And I dread to think what would have became of me had I not had this external focus. One of the things that I insist upon with my own children is that they have an additional focus. They have something else that they're talented at, that they're excited about, they're passionate about, just so that, because there's, you know, there are predators everywhere. And you know, and that's for both males and females. And I feel like my mom was, so what I was saying, I feel like had I not had the focus of signing my record deal, going to work and working towards something, I probably would have been more vulnerable and more susceptible to the perils that lie, you know, for inner city girls without, you know, a stable environment. And that's no disrespect to my mom, but she just, you know, she wasn't able to provide that kind of protection that I think I needed, and the type of protection that I'm able to provide my own children today.
Yeah, that's for sure. And you talk about, so that relationship you were in, the one you said you shouldn't have been in at that age, where you're younger, you're more vulnerable, and that sort of thing. So it was only more recently actually that I found out that that's what the Thank You song, you know, your second album was all about, which is nuts, because when I listened to it again very recently actually, I listened to it like different, you know, and it's you know, it's sort of like hitting different, and that's a very tough topic to talk about, you know. And you spoke about it in, you know, a single and put it out to the world, which is a powerful thing to do, a vulnerable thing to do. You know, I think there's so much power and vulnerability, you know. You've probably heard from different women that have been inspired by that song, you know, and what you've had to say there. What was it like the first time you spoke to someone about that?
I didn't speak to anyone. I did it through my music. I wrote Thank You more therapeutically and selfishly. It wasn't supposed to be, you know, the as impactful, or, you know, I wasn't thinking about anything like that. I just for me, whenever I'm, you know, in having like a moment of like anger or hurt, I like to get it in a song, because I just feel like it's the most creative space and a good use of my energy. And so I wrote the song, and I was blown away by not only the impact that it had, but how many people resonated with the words in the song. I really felt like I really felt at the time that I was the only person that was going through it or had been through it. And to feel as if there were, it felt like there were, millions of us. And I was just like, wow. And for me, it was at that point that I was like, I'm so glad I wrote this song, because I've put the conversation on the table. At the time as well, it was a very kind of taboo subject. And for me, I'd much rather, talk about it, be honest about my experiences, and in a way kind of form a sense of kind of community, and be an example of, I didn't want to be an example of domestic violence, but I wanted to be an example of the survival and the the beauty that can still exist outside of such a harrowing situation and experience. And it's for that reason, Thank You is my favorite song and experience of releasing a single of all of my songs.
Like in an interview I've done, so by the time this comes out, then this would be one of the older interviews, but a woman called Hayley Melenda, and she was talking about vulnerability, and what her quote was, vulnerability is a superpower, which I think is so true. There's so much power. It's difficult. It's so difficult. And there's so much power in doing that. Like you're saying, people, how many people have come out and been like, wow, this resonates with me, this resonates with me. And then it's empowering in a way,
Absolutely.
And very, very inspiring as well. And you were so young. Oh my gosh, you was a teenager. I think when I look back, I'm like, I'm 29 now, and I'm looking like teenager. Oh my gosh, you were so young. That's nuts.
When I speak about predators, that's basically what I'm speaking about. I was 16, 17, and he was like 25, 26. That's, from the outside, it's inappropriate. What do you want with essentially a child? And but to be vulnerable, to be innocent, is like, sometimes it can be like, blood to a shark. And that's how I feel, the dynamic was. And as an older person now, I feel very capable of advising my children, ways to avoid that. But what I do also want to say is that, the predators aren't just out there for girls, for females. There are also predators out there for boys. And when it comes to kind of there's a lot of grooming when it comes to grooming boys to join gangs and to do things. And I believe my brothers were groomed as well in that way, but I don't feel like that grooming is taken as seriously. I can speak about it and I can have empathy, but by the time a young man, or a young man is able to speak about his experiences, because it's often linked to criminality, it's not taken, the sympathy is kind of taken away, because by that point he's already a criminal in that sense, and doesn't receive the same level of sympathy and empathy and need to understand. And I think that's something that I'm truly passionate about. And it's definitely as passionate as I've been about speaking about domestic violence, I've also, tried to be vocal about, about criminality and young boys. And I've seen such a huge difference in the way that that those subjects are treated, which is sad.
Yeah, it's definitely sad. And I've heard you, well, seen you speak on these kind of things, especially when you talk from a personal perspective, saying like your family is that this and then this, that, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm a strong believer anyways as well, that anyone that's, whether, the term criminal sounds a bit dirty, but so I guess that's the word we're going to, it makes it easy to explain. But people that are, in that kind of a life and are involved in doing whatever they're doing on the side, a lot of these people, it's like, I feel that people aren't born criminals. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh, of course not. Of course not.
Yeah, it's all sorts of complicated things that go into whatever for things that go into the way people are right now. And that's why I believe in not judging anyone in any way, shape, or form, whether it's they're involved in crime, whether it's they're doing something else, some other illicit activities or whatever. My thing is that what I say is that pain is relative, or
Absolutely.
your experience is relative.
Absolutely. And your circumstances make you what you are as well.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like if one person was to go through the exact same circumstances someone else went through, you may be in the same place. So how can now you look at them and judge them for doing what they're doing?
Well, and this is the thing. I think, a lot of us don't, well, not us, but a lot of people don't have empathy, and they imagine that I would never do something like that. And for me, I'd just say, put you under the right circumstances and you would, but you can't fathom it because, often you're privileged, or you're living a life that's totally devoid of it. And for me, as someone, I'll never forget my background and, where I came from. And as I said, I would tell you that my childhood was beautiful. My brother's childhood were beautiful. We, were surrounded by love, by empowerment. And there's a point at which things change where, your vulnerabilities become, targets for predators. And it's as simple as that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I wanted to ask you, so we're going back to the thank you song.
Yeah.
I've heard you talk about how you've forgiven that ex now.
Yeah.
Was that like a one light bulb moment, or was it, over a period of time that happened?
Well, for me, I feel like holding on to anger doesn't serve me, and it keeps me in that phase of my life. And I didn't want this man to continue to have a power over me. And even if, I can detest someone, even if you're spending your energy on hate or dislike, that's energy that could be much better served elsewhere. By the time I was kind of over it, I was a mother, and I'd much rather spend positive energy on nurturing this child that I have. So for me, the forgiveness has nothing to do with him. It was all about me. It was about freeing myself to have the opportunity to live a blessed life. And and that's exactly what's happened. Blessings upon blessings. And I have no hate towards him, no malice towards him, but I don't have anything towards him. It's just that's your thing. That's you. And where I'm concerned, my focus and my energy has always been on my personal healing, my my greatness, my ascension, my focusing on greatness, not anything negative. I can't do that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's talk positivity.
Yeah.
So you've been around the world. You've toured for years. You've been touring and performed all over the place and that.
Yeah.
What would you say has been your favorite show and why?
Ooh, my favorite show. You see, I've got a lot of favorite shows. I had my own tour where I had my own name on the people were coming to see me, and it was sold out. That was incredible. But then I remember performing for Nelson Mandela for one of his concerts and just thinking, wow. But then there was also when I headlined Party in the Park, and that was to 100,000 people. I don't know if it was, I think it was called Party in the Park, to 100,000 people. And I remember it was just the most surreal moment of my life. I think it would be that these people, 100,000 people in, I don't know what park it was in London, but came to see me. That's something nobody can take away from me. Do you know what I mean? And and it was absolutely epic. And Party in the Park doesn't even happen anymore. I think everyone's on wireless now. but wireless can't touch Party in the Park. Party in the Park was sick. It was much bigger as well. So
when you say, I was thinking, what's Party in the Park? I've never heard of it.
But it was massive. Google Party in the Park. It probably won't be me, but Google Party in the Park.
But there's a next event now. It's a Ghana Party in the Park. I don't know if you heard of that.
Really?
Yeah. It's not 100,000 people, but
yeah. Oh no, but I bet that's wicked. We've got an event that happens in Birmingham. It's much smaller, called Jamaica in the Square, and I love it, man. So Ghana Party in the Park sounds good. I'm up for that.
I'm giving. It's like it's in like Barnet or something like that. But I haven't been for a few
Okay.
years, and still probably a few thousand
Okay.
people. It's nice, man. Nice
Yeah.
vibe, you know, good music,
Oh.
good food, all of that. Like it's a good
Oh
day out,
yeah.
actually.
Yeah. I'm definitely
Yeah.
looking forward to that
All
one.
right. So, what would you say? Yeah, is your most
Mm,
underrated song? And I've got my opinion on this for sure, but I want to
my
hear what you
most
think.
um underrated. I
Tough
don't know,
question.
Yeah, I don't know because I kind of feel like every song did what I wanted it to do. Like,
Mm.
uh, I don't know, maybe I'll say Money, but
Ooh,
I don't
underrated.
know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it was underrated because for me, Money was what that was like our song. It was for us, and I just feel like everyone knew it. No. I don't think Money was underrated. I
Mm.
don't. I think it was, it did what it was meant to do.
Money is a big
It's
tune, man. Yeah.
probably going to be an album track, that I didn't get to release. There was a song on my album called Antidote, and only like diehards would know that one. But I remember I really
Mm.
fought to release that as a single, and they weren't really feeling it. The label didn't really feel it, and I get it. I get why they didn't want to, but
Yeah.
yeah, for me, that's probably what my underrated. What's yours? What do you think?
I got plenty, man.
Oh, really?
You know what it is, yeah? I think your first album, that drama album for me, that is
Yeah,
sick. Like
yeah.
that's
Oh,
nostalgia for me.
thank you.
And like all your albums, yeah, they got
Mm,
very different sounds proper. So I think the
yes,
first one, it sounds
yeah,
very kind of, I know it come out in 2000, but it sounds
yeah.
very that 90s R&B type of sound.
Yeah, which is
And
exactly what I wanted to
and
do.
that's
Yeah,
my sound. Like my mum, yeah,
yeah,
that was my
uh-huh.
mum's music growing up. So I
Yeah,
could think when I'm growing up, all we ever heard in the house was like 90s R&B. I'm
yeah,
talking like
yeah, yeah.
who's I don't know SWV and Vogue,
Yes,
all them
yes.
tunes
I
there.
was raised on those
So
people.
that was my childhood. So
Yeah.
that drama album for me, yeah, I think
Mm,
every track is sick, but
yeah.
probably
Thank you.
Guilty.
I knew you were gonna say that,
Guilty
I
is a
knew you
big
were
tune,
gonna
big tune,
let
man.
let me tell you a quick story about Guilty. So
Yeah.
I wrote it with this guy called Robert Naismith. Had the most amazing
Mm.
session. But he was like some sort of American gangster because when it came just before we were about to release the album, he was like, "Nah, I'm not sharing my points." So when you look on the album, my name isn't on the writing credits of that
Oh,
song,
is
and
it?
he took 100% of that song. But for me, I was just like,
That's not
like,
fair, man.
yeah, I know. But yeah,
That's
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I like
But it was
Guilty.
such a good song though.
Yeah, oh, that's a sick song. Guilty. I like Room 101.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like
Oh, way
yeah,
back.
what's my like? Oh, you got a few tunes on there. Oh, the opening
Oh,
track. Is one, I think. One, right?
one.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like that
when I
one.
thought I was a rapper.
No, you know what Chucky rap on, yeah? On your second album. Was it the Money? Was that what it's called?
Dirty,
Dirty
dirty.
Day. What was I saying? Money. Dirty
Yeah,
Day.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
spitting
yeah.
bars, man. Proper.
Oh, please. No, I can't even listen to those songs. I'm like, what? Do you know what it was though?
Yeah.
Give a 15-year-old a record deal. She's gonna go crazy. Do you know what I mean? And for me, all those 90s artists, like that was my bread and butter. Like I was living for those artists. And so um to have the opportunity to record my own album, I was just like, I'm gonna be like Mary J. Blige. I'm gonna be like
Yeah.
SWV. I'm gonna be like total, like, so and they really did give me free reign as a songwriter, which was it was actually amazing. And yeah,
Yeah.
good times, man.
That's good. Well, that drama album for me, that's top notch. Favorite.
Oh,
But my
thank
favorite,
you.
track's got to be See It in the Boy's Eyes
Oh,
on your
okay.
second album.
Yeah,
That one,
thank
man, that's
you.
like MTV base days. Like
Yeah,
now,
yeah, yeah.
like back when you got to sit down and watch TV for an hour for your favorite
Yes,
song
to
to come on.
get that one song.
You got to just go through every song.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you can't
yeah,
just go on
yeah,
YouTube and type in
yeah,
what you want. Like, you got to sit there. But that's probably my favorite track, actually.
exactly. Oh,
Yeah.
thanks.
That's a sick song. Good music, man. Uh,
Oh, thank you.
it's all good. It's all good. Um, outside of music, yeah. So like after music, you've gone into TV now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, well, let me see. With the TV, so
Mm-hmm.
actually, no. Before we get there, why did you
Mm-hmm.
transition into TV?
So, honestly, I felt as if I was, so towards the end of what you guys will know of my music career, I was being pushed more and more to kind of sell a more hypersexualized version of myself. And I was becoming more and more uncomfortable with it, especially by the time I got there. I had two daughters, and I was just like, I'm not comfortable selling this to little girls. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
I knew my demographic, and my demographic probably went from like 10 to 12 to, you know, to women. And it was just kind of like, I don't want to influence young girls, particularly young Black girls, in this way. This is not, you know, it's not healthy, it's not safe,
Mm.
and it's not responsible. And I took my responsibility, I take my responsibility as a role model very seriously. And so myself and my label were butting heads, you know, towards the end of that 10-year span. And by the end of it, it was a mutual decision. Like, I wasn't actually dropped. I just, you know, the record label and myself, we both agreed that I wasn't going to sign another contract with them.
Mm-mm.
And I'd had 10 years, so I'd really had, you know, the most amazing time and most amazing career. And I still went on to do a lot of, you know, great musical things. But yeah, the reason why I intentionally made that transition was yeah, was because I didn't want to be used. I felt like felt like there was an agenda, and I felt like it was going to be detrimental, particularly to Black British children.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Makes sense. Makes sense. And what I wanted to ask, yeah, before that, so when with
Mm.
the TV angle, so
Yeah.
before TV, also you're doing music, and
Yes.
the what's it called? You said, you know, when you first sort of started to join, then you was told you're too dark to make
Yeah.
it, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then so you moved there. Now you moved into TV,
Mm-hmm.
and again, I'm guessing you're navigating mostly white spaces, and
Yep.
again, where
Yep.
you're being policed on what you can say and do, blah blah
Yeah.
blah, and all of that,
Yes.
and like
Yes.
um, where you know you've been dragged
Mm-hmm.
for certain things, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
other people haven't been dragged, wherever, etc., etc.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I guess what I'm wondering there from that is that, do you feel like you can bring your authentic self to these spaces, like when you're
Mm.
in these spaces, and like how do you deal with the pressures of being being seen as the spokesperson for Black people?
So yeah, for me, honestly, my honest answer to that question is no. I don't think that any of us as Black British people can bring our authentic selves to those spaces. And so to me, it's either you want to play the game or you don't. um I was willing
Mm,
to play the game because I thought that it would actually bring about change. I thought that, you know, me occupying these spaces would be valuable and would be impactful. But what it turned out is that, you know, you're just ticking a box. Even when you see, you know, Black people on TV now, they're still not being their whole selves, and I feel like that's really sad. And I
mm,
have so much love and admiration for the Black people who are still there doing it day in, day out. I know what they're going through behind the scenes. And whilst things are slightly easier, I still think that there's a lot of progress that needs to be made. Where I'm concerned, I'd say over the last 10 years, I've gone from really wanting to be on those platforms and really wanting to occupy those spaces to being content with a bit less. And I know that might sound quite sad, but the less for me is actually more, because it means I get peace. It means
mm,
that
mm,
I'm allowed to be myself in my entirety. I still, you know, I still scratch that itch. I've got an online TV show that called The Table, which I've loved doing, and you know, and intend to do more of, by the way. And for me, you know, so doing The Table, which, I don't know, a few
mm,
thousand people watched it. You know, it's very different than doing Loose Women, where 1 million people are watching a day.
mm,
But
mm,
for my sense of peace, for my mental health, for my even my pride, for, you know, being able to turn up on the show and be 100% myself, I'd much rather be, you know, at my table than this.
mm, yeah.
Because I think what, you know, what people need to understand is that I tried for years, and it literally, as much as I'm, you know, as much as I'm confident and empowered as a Black woman, I feel like I don't know, I can't let them have me like that. Like no amount of money is worth my peace. And I think for me that, you know, there was a turning point a few years ago actually, where I was just like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore, and I don't need you guys either. I don't need to, you know, some of the times I feel like, particularly Black people, we feel like, oh, I've made it because I'm occupying a white centered space. But for me, I feel like, I don't know. I just disagree. I just disagree. I think that we need to stop aiming to occupy white spaces and start occupying our own and start creating our own. You know, all of these spaces that we covet started from somewhere, and I think if we began and started ours, we don't need them. We really don't need them. We, you know, and as I said, the last few years of my life, you'll only see me doing mainstream stuff that I genuinely want to do, that I'm interested in, that I've chosen for myself, not, you know, oh my gosh, I need to do this because, you know, they're offering so much money. I turn down stupid amounts of money every week because I'm not a fool, and I'm not being taken for a fool. I'm not a token, you know, and for me it's like, you know, unless it's something that I really want to do, something that I really want to support, or something that I want to be a part of, I'm not involved.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess in a way it sort of goes back to when you talk about your childhood and literally knowing and understanding who you are, going to Pan-African school and you know, just it's like knowing who you are. And then now it's like you can get to the age where you are now, and you know your worth, you know who you are. You don't need to step into these kind of spaces in order to find yourself or to like find some kind of validation or anything like that.
You should never have to lose yourself for, you know, for your passion or for your, you know, the things that you want for yourself. You should never have to lose. You should, you know, if everyone else gets to show up as their authentic self, then so should you. And if you don't, that's a compromise I don't think is worth taking. But as I said, I still do rate and admire people who have that, you know, the tenacity to still go ahead. You know, I guess it's a different type of ambition, but yeah, for me, I choose peace.
Yeah, of course. Peace comes first. Your health, your mental health comes first, man.
Absolutely.
In a way, yeah. But what I think what was good, so about seeing you on our screens, because like I said, like literally, I've grown up seeing you on my screen all the time, seeing you on like the, you know, music videos and that kind of thing, and knowing that you're British as well, Black and British. And then after that, you know, your TV. I mean, I guess I don't tune into Loose Women and that kind of thing. But I see, you know, I see you about, you know, here and there. And I think that kind of a representation is good and important. Just seeing it. I don't know if you remember was it Channel 4, Channel 5? I don't know. They done like this Black Takeover Day or something like that.
Yeah, I was a part of that. I was a part of that. Yeah,
I didn't see it. I only watched like one or two programs on that.
No. It was all day. So yeah, you're not going to see all of it. Yeah.
But then I thought that something like that is cool because you literally seeing, what I liked about that was seeing Black people hosting and on like literally regular daytime TV shows. I'm talking like home improvement shows. And I'm like, what the hell is that? You don't even fathom this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That kind of representation is important. And that was definitely some of my sorry, go on.
No. I was just gonna say, you're so right. Like when we talk about representation matters, sometimes people think about children, but even us as adults. It's funny that you mentioned the home improvement show, because that was one that stuck out to me more than any other, was the fact that I'm only used to seeing white people doing this, and what it does is subconsciously it gives them the authority. So if a Black person was to show you a house, you kind of be a bit like, and it's like that's ridiculous. You know, that's ridiculous. And we deserve, as adults, we deserve to have that representation that we never had. I feel like it was a really successful day, and you know, of course, I'd prefer for it not to be a day. And I do know that Channel 4 has actually commissioned a few shows off the back of it. The one being, there's two home improvement shows with Scarlett Douglas and Stuart Douglas, who presented it. Yeah, brother and sister. Yeah, and they've got their own show now. And I was like, yes, big up them, because that I feel like for me that was the most. I was just like, wow, we've never seen that, and we should. You know what I mean?
Clocks, I'd never seen it until I saw it. I was like, oh wow, like
exactly.
It was
exactly.
Proper, and I was going to ask you a representation, but you answered it there anyway. So
yeah,
that's good. Moving to now, what are you passionate about?
I'm passionate about I'm passionate about a lot of things. I'm passionate about our children. I'm passionate about mental health. Um I'm passionate about ensuring that we know our worth. I think those are the things that I'm most passionate about. And that can take on many different forms. I feel like I can be of service in those areas in many different ways. I think visibility is important. So whilst I might not be, coveting a seat on Loose Women, if I'm ever asked to do something where I believe I could be impactful or of service in this role, yeah, I'll always say yes if I feel like the end goal is one of those things. So I'm passionate about that, and I'm passionate about providing visibility as well. I feel like, whilst I don't love being a part of the media circus, I feel like I do provide a point of view that is not often welcomed in mainstreamed environments. So yeah, I think my visibility is important as well.
Yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. And so I see that you do a few things, a few is putting it lightly, but when I'm looking around, because I've done a little list of like different, what would you even call it, like charity or types things that you've been doing for a while actually. Talking at different events, hosting different events, schools, charities, events, domestic abuse campaign, Black Girl Fest, etc., etc., etc. Does this line of work bring you a level of satisfaction that you never got from the TV and the music?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's hard to kind of define what it is that I do, because I feel like my my presence and my the place where I'm most at service is online now, like through social media. I just feel like there's a really beautiful community of people who want to hear the things that I've got to say. And as I said, it might be a smaller audience, but for me it's a much more impactful audience, an important audience. And when it comes to, like, again, providing visibility or amplifying certain charities, organizations, like, sometimes that's just a post. Like, why wouldn't I? Do you know what I mean? Like, what kind of person would I be if I don't use my platform for good? Do you know what I mean? I'm not one of these people who's on social media for the likes. It's not. I'm just aware that I can be influential from the platform that I have, and so I'd like to use it, wisely. I think I'm gonna quote Spider-Man now. But with great power comes great responsibility, and I like to use those things wisely. I really do. I like to, I want people to know that about me as well. And I'm always reaching out to small brands, small companies, organizations, and letting them know if I can be of service, let me know. Like, if I can help you, let me know when you've got this going on. And, I'm always happy to post, always, and support. And, as I said, I want us to win. Do you know what I mean? Me winning by myself is not success. I want us all to win. I want us all to know that we have the potential to, to do it. No, that's
real cool. And definitely I definitely like believe and resonate with what you're saying as well. It's like with this, for example, when I reached out originally, you come back, you said, no questions asked. Oh, okay. Cool. But then I proper appreciate it, because it's like, I'll tell you what we're about, blah blah blah, and you come back, cool, let's do it. And then it hasn't been like that with other people, and I get it. To be honest, it's not, I don't take it personally. I get it. People got things, whatever, but I guess with you, it's very genuine. What you're saying. You want to be able to give back, want to be able to be of some service to people.
Absolutely. And for me as well, like, if you're doing something, I guess the reason why there's no questions asked is because I know that your mission and your intention aligns with mine. Do you know what I mean? So the type of thing that you're doing, of course I've got to support that. Do you know what I mean? It's no questions asked. Yeah, it was kind of just like, of course, like just book it in. Even though it's been, you can admit it's been a bit of a mazza getting it actually done, but we're here now.
It's all good. That's what we're here. That's what matters, isn't it? Yeah. All right, cool. So you know what? Yeah. So I put out before we spoke today, I put out like a little thing on social media, just asking people if they had anything they want to ask you.
Okay.
So I can quickly share a couple of them. I'm aware of the time because I think we're
no problem. Don't worry.
Thank you. Let me read out a couple of them. Yeah.
Cool.
So so put it out to the 1,000 voices on social media. And I've got a couple questions. So first one I got from Taja Myers, which to be honest, I think is quite a similar to something you've already answered, but I'll ask it, which is how do you remain true to yourself?
My center is very important to me, so I make sure that I return to center. So sometimes I am doing some of the the craziest things that are so far away from normality for me. I can't even think of like a huge example. Okay, for instance, I've been invited to like a British Vogue party on Sunday. Like, to me, I'm gonna be like, why am I at a British Vogue party? Because British Vogue is it. I know people might think it's weird that I think this way about something like that, but with the editorial team that has been built around British Vogue by Edward Enninful, and and Cole, that's kind of like, that's kind of like upper echelon behavior, and I'm like, wow, and I'm gonna go. So, but for me, it's really important. So, like, me and my husband, we're not gonna stay in London. Like, I want to come back home. I want to come back home just because I feel like I need to return to center, like, not to get. If I'm being honest, it's just like, just don't get too gassed in it. Like, and that doesn't sound very professional, but that's literally what it is. Like just don't get too gassed. Like, enjoy it, be there. You're invited. So I dread to think who else is going to be there, but I'll just have to hold it down. But I never feel comfortable in spaces like that. But my center is so important to me that and also having children will humble you real quick, and especially my 4-year-old. So that becomes my center, and it becomes my my point of return at all times. So it's very important to me to intentionally recenter myself, good or bad, whenever things happen.
That's sick. I like the answer as well, because I think I read that you live in Birmingham still, didn't
you?
I
do.
Literally return to center. Literally.
Literally.
That's
literally.
Right, cool. And then I got this one from Amanda Janet. This handwriting. Okay. Why don't Black musicians in the UK blow up like the US?
Do you know, I think that we have to remember that we live in a majority a majority. How do I say this? That is a majority racist country, like, we really do. And we're when Black British artists blow up, it's always the people first. It's always Black people that have supported them first, and then, if you're lucky, white people will also like you. So I was one of those, I'll call it an outlier, one of those outliers where white people happen to like me too. So now I'm great. But for me, I was great because the Black people already told me, like, from people, the aunties are stopping me in the street and like, I'm really proud of you. I was like, oh my gosh, I've made it. I've made it. Do you know what I mean? But I think we sometimes we forget, because of our communities, the communities that we create around ourselves. Sometimes we forget that we live in a, we are the minority here, even though we are the global majority. We're not ethnic minorities, but we are the minority in the UK and the Western world. And that's something that we need to remember, and don't expect that just because your song's good, it's gonna blow up, because these people might not like the look of you, and that's it.
Yeah. All good. Right, perfect. And then last question, I always like to ask this question before I go into a quick fire.
Okay.
What do you want your legacy to be?
I would like my legacy to be that I don't know that I was a good person. I think that's that more than anything. I think I'd like people to remember. I was actually asked this question the other day. So we're talking about Jamal Edwards, who passed
R.I.P.
recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was saying, like, when I heard he passed, the first thing I thought was, oh my gosh, like he's such a beautiful guy, like such a nice guy. And that was the biggest tragedy. And touching wood and all that, I don't want it to be for now, but I'd like people to have that type of reaction for me, that I was a good person before anything. I don't want it to be like, oh, she did this, or she was on that stage, or she met that person, because that would be a tragedy to me. To me, I want it to be that, I hope that my intentions and the things that I'm trying to do are resonating with people in a way that they know I was a good person. That's what I want people to remember about me.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's sick. Thanks a lot. Thanks
Yeah.
a lot. All right, cool. So let's move into some quick fire questions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've got them up here. All right, cool. So I've got 10 questions. Wherever comes to your head first.
Okay.
I say 20 seconds per question max.
Okay.
I'm not gonna time it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And I think they start a bit easier, then they get
Cool.
a bit more, but
Yeah.
whatever comes to your head.
Okay.
Cool. You good to go?
Yeah, good to go.
All right, cool. First question. What's your favorite movie?
Love Actually.
Cool.
No, Queen and Slim. It's Queen and Slim, actually.
That was the right answer. Cool. All right. Queen and Slim's a good film, though. All right.
Yeah.
Next one. What's your favorite book?
Ooh, I think it's Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. I've read some amazing books, but Outliers, it really helped me to understand success and why people become successful, and also that becoming successful has a lot to do with luck and being ready for opportunities.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next. Name a song that you can never get bored of.
There's like 10 everything by Mary J. Blige. Everything. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mine would have been Mine would have been Guilty. All right. Cool. Next one. How do you start your day?
I start my day in silence. It's really important to me that so I wake up before everyone, because I want to, I don't know, is that, again, I think it's that thing of centering myself, like, where am I? What's my intention? What do I need to do today? But it's always, so no phones. No, I try not to even turn the lights on, which sometimes doesn't work. but yeah, silence. I think starting your day in silence, like that first hour, if you can do it in silence, is honestly sets you up.
That's cool. All right. Next. If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would you pick?
Just planting. It doesn't even have, it's not even a meal. It's just planting like 10 different ways. I could live on planting for the rest of my life easily. Easily.
All right. Next one. Name 3 people that inspire you.
Oh, my mom, my daughters, and myself. Am I allowed to say that? Like,
yeah.
I feel like my brain doesn't work like other people's brains, and so I come up with ideas, and I'm like, yeah, I should do that.
Cool. All right, next one. What's the best advice that you've ever received?
Best advice. Oh, I think not to take life too seriously, and I don't know if that's necessarily advice, but it's just not taking life too seriously. Don't enjoy the highs, and just know that everything that happens is temporary. So whether that's the highs or the lows, and not to take it too seriously. Like your life can change in an instant, which has happened to me many times over. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Next, if you were to dedicate the rest of your life to one charitable cause, what would you pick?
To one charitable cause?
Yeah.
So when you say a cause, not an organization, just a cause.
If you can name an organization if you'd like, but cause or an
I can't think
organization.
of an organization that is dedicated to this, but for me it would be the empowerment of Black children. So whatever organization does that, that's easy.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Last two. What's the kindest thing that someone's ever done for you?
Bring me food. Anyone who brings me food, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like, yeah. My husband brings me food quite a lot though. So yeah, he's up there. He's up there.
Cool. And last one. What's one thing people don't know about you?
That I'm a real computer geek, a proper computer geek. Yeah. I love video games. I love all kind of technical things to do with the computer. I actually went to a school which was for technically minded children, and for my interview, this is gonna make me sound like a mad geek, but I'm very proud of my geekness. I went there for my interview, and I'd made like a little house, and all the lights turned on in the house. And I still do things like that to this day. And I'm very, very proud that my 4-year-old, she's really into science and technology. So so I have a field day with her. But I'm a proper geek. Anything gadgets, science, I'm there. Yeah.
That's perfect. All right, cool. That's it. We all done now, yeah.
So, thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you. Like, I really appreciate you coming on. And one thing before you wrap up here is like, I feel like I get like a very, very good sense. I don't know, like you just get good vibes, good energy from someone. And I get that from you. I feel like you're very like a very genuine person.
Oh, bless you.
I feel that we probably could have just spoken for a very long time, obviously. But it's a Friday evening and you gotta go have your dinner.
Exactly.
But I really do appreciate you coming on. Like so appreciate sharing whatever you've had to share. And I know people are definitely going to be inspired by what you've had to say.
I hope so. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for creating the platform. And I look forward to hearing it. And please make sure you let me know. I'm going to make sure I follow you on social media, but just let me know when it's out so I can promote and whatever. And if in the future you've got anything else that you want to promote, it doesn't need to be related to this, just let me know, and we're there.
That's it. Thanks a lot.
But have a good evening anyway, and and well done, man. Well done. And let me know when you get to the 1,000th person as well.
I will do 2 years down the line.
But even so, I want to know.
Maybe throw a party for the 1,000 people.
Exactly.
Turn up properly.
Definitely.
All right,
thanks so much for having me.
No, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day or rest of your evening.
You too. You too. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that was that. As always, thank you for tuning in. It is very much appreciated. And if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing to us or following us wherever you're listening to this right now. It really does help us in trying to amplify the voices of the people that we speak to. Also, what did you think about this episode? What did you gain from this episode? What were some of your key takeaways from this conversation? As always, it's always great to hear from you guys. So leave a comment, leave a review wherever you're listening to this right now. Let us know what you thought about this. The next podcast episode is going to be dropping next week, Tuesday, as they release every single Tuesday. So if you'd like to see some previews, a few little snippets from that, then follow us on our social media pages at 1000 Voices UK so that you can keep up to date with that before it comes out. The full YouTube video will drop a few days afterwards as well, so keep an eye out for that. But that's that for now. Thank you for tuning in. This is 1000 Voices, and for now, people, we're out.